Good morning, everyone. My name is Leah Weston from DSD Business Systems, and I'd like to thank you all for joining today's webinar, A Guide to Service Center for Sage 100 ERP. Before we get started, I'd like to tell you a little bit about DSD Business Systems. DSD provides accounting, ERP, and business management solutions for your business. With over 30 offices nationwide, we serve customers across the globe in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and Europe. DSD Business Systems has been a Sage development partner since 1989, and we've developed over 400 enhancements. Please feel free to contact us if you'd like further information on any of our enhancements or custom programming. Our speaker today for A Guide to Service Center is Nicole Ronchetti, Product Specialist at DSD Business Systems. Nicole has been working with Sage 100 for over 16 years and is a Sage certified consultant. She will be showing you the Service Center product and some of its great features it has to offer. And throughout today's presentation, please feel free to type in any questions you guys might have, and we'll have a brief Q&A following the presentation. So with that, I'll hand it off to Nicole to begin.
Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. As Leah said, my name is Nicole Ronchetti, Product Specialist here at DSD. Today I'm going to be showing you our Service Center solution for Sage 100. What I will be showing you are the key features of the product, as well as availability and pricing. We'll go through a brief product demonstration, and we'll also have time for questions and answers at the end. So as Leah said, at DSD we are a Sage 100 Gold Certified Master Developer, and we offer over 400 enhancements for Sage 100. Some of those top-selling enhancements that we have available are our multi-currency, multi-company, and SQL mirroring products. If anyone has any questions about any of those other enhancements that we have, please feel free to reach out to me after the webinar. So we're going to start out today by talking about what is Service Center. Service Center is the only product for Sage 100 that was designed specifically for service centers and depot repair shops. It's a great solution for manufacturers, distributors, and third-party repair shops. Anyone who receives in product for repair, replacements, or credit returns can benefit from using Service Center. It's an entire module within Sage 100, and it closely interfaces with all the other modules already on the system. I do also want to mention that while Service Center is a relatively new product to DSD, this solution has been around for a number of years. There are many industries that are currently using the product to streamline their Service Center processes. Some of those include things like medical devices, electronic devices, and some of the other products and industries that you see listed here. So Service Center is designed to address all of the needs of your service center or your depot repair business. You can repair equipment or inventory that you've sold to your customers, or you can be the third-party repair center for products sold to your customers from other vendors. You can also use Service Center to refurbish your own internal equipment or inventory. In addition to processing repairs, Service Center can also be used to process returns and exchanges, as well as it can be used to send and track demo or loaner units. Because Service Center is tightly integrated with the other Sage 100 modules, there are many additional features which are also available. Some of those include generating purchase orders from service orders, generating invoices from service orders, as well as paperless office integration, and the ability to use the Business Insights Explorer views as well. So how is Service Center different than some of the other solutions for Sage 100? A lot of the other service solutions for Sage 100 are designed and geared towards field service. Service Center is the only solution designed specifically for depot repair shops, and it can also be used in a dispatch environment as well. If you're familiar with the RMA module for Sage 100, think of Service Center like the RMA module on steroids. It can do everything that the RMA module can do, but more. So a lot of times when we see users who are currently using the RMA module, but they're limited by it, Service Center is a really good fit for those users. Service Center is also a very easy to use, easy to learn, familiar interface. If users are familiar with the sales order module or the purchase order module, the Service Center module is very similar to the process and workflow of those modules as well. And it's also one price for the module. There's no additional charges based on the number of users. So whether you have 1 or 20 users or technicians using the module, it's still one price for the module itself. Now we do have Service Center available for versions 4.5 through 2016. And the price for the module is $5,800. And we're currently running a promotion on that, which is 15% off through the end of April. Now we're going to go ahead and get started with the demonstration portion. So you notice here in Sage 100, I have the Service Center module installed. It is an entire module within Sage 100. I have a lot of options available as far as inquiries, some reports that come standard, and I also have those Business Insights Explorer views. And all of these reports that are available are crystal reports, so they're easily customizable, and you can also create additional custom reports as well. We're going to begin with the most important part of Service Center, which is service order data entry. So if I look here, a service order is an order for a repair, replacement, or return, or any sort of service where I have a unit that needs to have some sort of work done to it. And you'll look in Service Center and you'll notice that there's a number of lookups available that are looking at my standard Sage 100 files. So if I do a lookup on the customer, this is a list of all the customers that I have available in accounts receivable. In the newer versions of Sage 100, I also have the ability to utilize the autofill within service order, so I can simply start typing the customer's name and select that from the drop-down. And here I have the status codes. So when a service order automatically, when we're creating a new one, that's going to go into the system as a new service order. But I do have the ability to choose from any number of status codes. Some of these come out of the box in the system, and some of these are user-defined. So I can create any number of statuses for my service orders and utilize that to track where the order is throughout the system. So after it's been received, if that moves to a different department or I'm waiting for customer approval, any number of areas that it can be within the process, I can define a status code for that and track that in the system. The really nice feature with regards to the status codes is that the system will actually track every single time the status is changed, when it was changed, and who it was changed by. So if it gets hung up in a particular department or it seems to take a long time, you'll be able to look back in your reports and note that, you know, this particular order took a long time during inspection, but throughout the process it moved fairly quickly. Those are the types of things that you can see with service order that are really nice. For now, we're just going to leave this as a new order. And you'll notice that most of the information that I see here is all the information that's pulled in from the customer record. If I have emails set up, we can later on email the service order utilizing paperless office. Now I'm going to go over to the Service Items tab. This is really the heart of the service order itself. The service item is the actual unit that we're doing work on. So I'm going to create a new line here. And again, this is the unit that needs some sort of work done to it. I might not know at this point what the end result is going to be of the service item. So If this comes back and we later on determine that it needs to be replaced or it needs to be exchanged or returned to stock for credit, I can make those changes at any point in the process up until the service order is finalized and closed. So I can even make that change after it's already been received. Now when I'm entering the service order, I may have the customer on the phone who's requesting the service work. I may have the information like the item code and serial number, but many times I might not. So with Service Center, you can bypass the item code. I can go straight to the serial number, and I can start typing in a serial number, and I'll see a drop-down list here of any of the items that might match that, and I can select that from the list. I can also go back to the item code, and I can do a lookup. Delete this line. I can do a lookup, and this is going to show me any items and serial numbers that I currently show this customer as owning. So that can be done automatically based on what I've shipped out to them or previous service history. So I can select from that list as well. And say I'm receiving back an item that might not even be something that I originally sold to them or that's in their inventory. I can use this flashlight here and select from a number of different search options to select an item and a serial number. So users ultimately have an unlimited amount of ways to search for which items they want to put on this order. I want to also note that this serial number field has an available 30 characters for entering in serialized information here. So that can completely accommodate for things like VIN numbers that can be longer than the standard Sage 100 serial number field. We have that ability to enter up to 30 characters as well. And even if I don't have all of that information at this point in time, I could even leave the serial number blank or the item code blank, either one, and fill that in a later time. And you'll notice here in the lower right-hand portion of the screen, you'll see the warranty information. So I'll see the warranty code that was assigned to this unit, when the warranty started, and when the warranty ended. So this is telling me, based on today's date, that this warranty is still valid. If I was outside of this date range, it would tell me that it was not in warranty, and that's going to later on affect our pricing when we add parts and labor. So if our warranty includes parts and labor, or possibly just parts, any of those charges that are associated with the service order will be applied automatically depending on the warranty settings. So if I change the date here to, let's say, 2017, it's going to recalculate any pricing associated with that order, and it's telling me that this is out of warranty. For now, we're just going to leave this at today's date. Now I also have additional information in this screen that I can look at, possibly while I still have the customer on the phone. I can click here and look at the service item record itself. I can see when it was originally invoiced, the invoice number, the price that it was sold at. I can keep track of who it was originally sold to and who the current end user is. So that may or may not be the same as the original sold to. I can also look at service info and see any previous service orders that were done for this item. If those were done to a different customer, I would see those as well. I can also click on the owner history. The system will track every single time that the owner has changed. So you can see previous owners recorded to this item and any information regarding those prior owners. And I'm still all right within service order entry at this point. So anyone who's on the phone taking a service order has all of this information available to them while they're entering in a service order. And because I'm keeping track of the owner history and all of the service order history, and that's all tied to the particular unit and that particular item and serial number, all of that history stays with that item regardless of if it changes hands or how many times it changes hands. I also have some additional fields here, like the problem description, where I can write out a detailed description of what the issues are with that unit. I can also click here where I have a nice large area to type all that information in. And I have other fields here called the complaint code and the failure reason. These are completely user-defined codes to identify what the issues are with the particular unit. So you can define as many complaint codes as you like. Same with the failure reason. These are really what caused the issue, whether it was the customer damaged or it was a product defect. You can set these to automatically invalidate the warranty as well. So if I chose this failure reason code on this unit, their warranty would no longer be valid, and they would be charged for parts and labor accordingly. So I'm going to just type in a short description here and select a complaint code. You also notice that I have some additional buttons up here. I can, if I want to automatically issue a sales order to send out a loaner item, I can do that as well. We're going to get into that a little bit more in a little bit. For now, because I'm just simply entering in this service order, I'm just going to accept this. And close out the screen. So once I've received the item in, I can simply go to Service Item Data Entry, and I can pull up that particular order and that unit. Now this means that because you can enter multiple units on a single service order. So if I had multiple lines on this order, I could have multiple technicians working on the same service order at the same time. So I could have one technician working on this unit and another technician working on a separate unit. When the order is received, I can simply come into Service Item Data Entry and change the status to the R code, which is Service Order Received. That's going to automatically set my date received and flag this as a received item. I can then go to the lines and add any parts that are associated with this particular order that I'm using to service it or repair it. Because this item, this unit that's coming back in, is still under warranty, the system knows that to not charge this customer for any prices. I can also enter in labor charges. It's important to also note that those labor charges can be entered in automatically through technician time transactions. That's not an additional feature. That is something that is included in here. We're not going to go over that today, but that capability is available within Service Center. And I can also select which service technician is doing the work on this order. And I can simply accept to add my parts to that particular unit. Now if I go back into that service order, maybe I want to add additional parts, maybe I want to change the status. Any work that I do on this particular service order, I can simply come in here and change where it is in the process. There's no additional updating or posting that's required. I can simply come in here and make any additional changes that I need to make to this order. And if we look at the order, when going back and talking about those status codes, if we look at this item, I can look at the status change history, and this is where I can see when that status code changed, the date and the time that it changed, and who it was changed by. So it's very useful when it comes to reporting. So for now, I am going to go back into my service order data entry, and I'm just going to flag this as complete, complete. Which I could do this in either area, either in the service order data entry or in the service item entry. Either one's fine. So once the items have been closed on this order, you'll see that this has been grayed out. I can't make any changes to this because this has been completed and closed. So now our order is ready to be invoiced. And there's a number of ways that I can create invoices for service orders. I can either create an invoice directly from within the service order entry screen by clicking this Create Invoice button at the top of the screen. Or we have some utilities available as well, such as Create Service Invoices, which will generate invoices based on your selection criteria of your service orders. Or I can simply invoice those just like I would any other order from within shipping data entry or invoice data entry. So I'm going to go ahead and invoice out this order. And you'll notice that I have a different field down here, which is the service order number. So in my sales order invoice data entry right now, I can either choose from a sales order or a service order. And when I come to the Lines tab, on this screen I'm going to see any service items that have been completed. If there were additional items on this service order which were not completed, I would not see those available here. So I could choose which ones that I would like to invoice out. And I also have a Select All button as well, so if I just wanted to select any that have been completed, I could do that. And you'll see that my invoice is generated for the items and the labor that is associated with this service order. Now you'll also notice that there is the credit card tab within the screen. We are also able to charge any credit cards for any of the charges associated with any service orders. So once I've invoiced that out, if I were to look at the service order and service order data entry, because this invoice has been created but it has not been posted, it will give me a message to that. Any of the items will also be marked. So if I was only invoicing out part of the service order, I would only see these $ signs by the ones that have invoices associated with those. So I'm going to go ahead and post my order. And all of this is just the same as your normal posting process. Nothing is different here. Now, once that's been posted, I'll no longer see that order in service order data entry, but I will have that available in service order history inquiry. And once I pull up that order in service order history inquiry, I will see that this is in history. It's very easy to see that this is in history as opposed to a current order. And I will see the units that were serviced on this order. And on the Lines tab, I'll see any lines that were associated with that unit as well. I can also click on the Invoices tab and see any invoices that were also associated with this service order. Another really nice feature about the service order history inquiry is that if I pull up a service order that was inadvertently deleted, I will see that it's been deleted, but I can also click the Restore button, which will reopen that service order and bring it back into the service order data entry files so that I can then utilize that for a customer. So it's a really nice feature. So next I'd like to kind of go over the demo loaner portion. And this is a really great feature that Service Center has. It's probably one of my favorite features. If you notice in the service order data entry, we did have the ability to issue a loaner item if we wanted to from within Service Center. When I'm in service order data entry, if I wanted to issue a loaner item, I could click on this button here to automatically issue a loaner sales order for that item. But I also have the ability to send out orders for loaner items directly through the sales order module without having it even tied to a service order. So that's really handy when it comes to people who are sending out items either to sales reps or maybe trade shows or any of your employees for demo and loan purposes. So I'm going to enter in a new sales order. And when I go over to my Lines tab, I'm going to select any item, and I now have this demo/loan field available. Now, these both function the same way. It's just a matter of how you want to classify those. Maybe any loaner items that go out for service orders, you classify those as loaners, and maybe ones that you do through sales order, either to sales reps or things that aren't assigned to a particular service order, maybe do those as demos. Either way, they both function the same way, so it's just a matter of how you want to classify those internally. So I'm going to create an order here for 100 of these, and this is just a normal sales order. Our entire process is exactly the same. The difference is that the only difference is this particular field here, which is the demo loaner field. I'm just going to make it a little bit more expensive than 11 cents. So I'm going to go ahead and accept this order. And I'm going to invoice this out. And again, this is not tied to a particular service order. It's just a regular sales order. So my entire process is exactly the same. So I have those units here. And I'm going to go ahead and post this. So everything that I do here and everything that I see here is going to be like I normally would see when doing a normal sales order. What you're going to see different is on this posting for the daily transaction register, it's going to be a little bit different than what we'd normally say. So if we look here, we'll see that we're hitting the accounts receivable and we're hitting sales tax in this case and also sales, but we're not hitting inventory and we're not hitting cost of goods sold. The reason for that is because when I ship out demo or loaner items, I still own those items, so those still exist in my inventory. So we're not actually relieving the inventory when that's processed. If we look at that item, we'll see that those were actually transferred to our loaner warehouse. I still have an open AR amount for what I've billed out the customer. But again, my inventory itself exists in my loaner warehouse. And this warehouse is just a warehouse code, whichever one you choose. It is one warehouse code for your demo and loaner items. But it's your holding place for any of your loaner or consignment items. So if I go back to Service Center, and we look at our demo loaner record maintenance, I can do a lookup here, and I can see any items that have been shipped out to my customers or to my sales reps, whoever I've loaned those out to. So I can see any of those items. If I select the one that we just did, I'll see who I sent it out to, what invoice number that was done on, and I'll also see how many were shipped and what order they went out on. Now, once those come back in, I can also very quickly and very easily return those to stock or sell them. So if I choose to simply return them to stock, I can choose which warehouse code I want to bring those back into and click Proceed. And we're going to create a new invoice batch. And this is going to create my credit memo to credit back the customer. And you'll notice here it says Return Demo. And once that invoice in particular, that credit memo, is posted, those items that were in the loaner warehouse will be transferred from the loaner warehouse back into my 000 warehouse. So it's really quick and easy to see who has what, when it was sent to them, and it's also very easy with the demo loaner maintenance to return them or sell them out to the customer. So if we went through the sell process, it would be very similar to the return process, but the inventory would be relieved from the loaner warehouse, and we would create a debit memo to adjust the AR record, if need be, for any additional charges that may need to go to that particular customer. So that's a really nice feature that I think a lot of people can utilize within Service Center to track any items sent out for demo or loan. So that concludes our demo portion. I want to also mention that we do have Service Center available to download, which you can run in demo mode. You can download that from our website. We also have demo data available as well, which is not available for download on the website, but if you are interested in receiving demo data, that is something that I can provide to you. Just feel free to contact me on that. And I want to also mention that we do have an upcoming webinar on Tuesday, March 29th for our cash management, which there is a link to that on the screen. And Leah will also be emailing that out after the webinar as well. So I think we have time now for questions. If anyone
Thank you so much, Nicole. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
So what is this available for Sage 100 Premium? Is it available for Sage 100C?
Yes, it does work with all, any of the standard, advanced, premium, Sage 100C. It does work with all of those.
And is there a repetitive service order entry available?
There is not a repetitive service order entry available, but you can also use functions like copying from previous service orders. If there was something as far as doing a repetitive entry where the copy function wouldn't work, that would be something that we would definitely look at and work with people on to see if maybe that's a feature that we might add into the product, or maybe it's something that we handle with kind of working with the end user's process.
Okay. Is there a limit of complaint codes you can have?
Nope, there's no limits as far as complaint codes or failure raising codes.
Does this work with multi-bin?
Well, since we're still in the process of making multi-bin, I'm sure that we will make sure that multi-bin and Service Center are compatible. That's definitely our goal.
Great. And instead of entering a sales order for a loaner, can you just invoice it? Or are you entering it as an order to walk it through shipping?
You could do it either way. If you just wanted to invoice one out, you could enter in a loaner order directly in invoice data entry, or like you said in the question, I'm not sure who asked that question, but if it's something that you're going to want to ship out, I would definitely enter in a sales order and do it from there. But you do have those fields available in all the screens. So.
That would be Mark who asked that question, and Mark, hopefully we answered that for you, but you're welcome to reach out if you have any further questions regarding that. And if you have any further questions, we're receiving some more. Please feel free to type them in, and we'll be sure to answer them. Another one, Nicole, is there any scheduling of techs or service?
No, we don't currently have any scheduling features worked in to the product. That is something that most times we are able to handle either possibly with some UDFs or the Business Insights Explorer views. But if there's somebody who needs any sort of more in-depth needs for scheduling, that's something that we could definitely talk with them about and work with them on.
What other modules are required?
The modules that are required would be accounts receivable, sales order, purchase order, and inventory. You know, some of the other modules, so go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. Go ahead.
Some of the other modules, such as, you know, custom office is not something that's required, but it is something that does come in useful because most times people do want to add some UDFs when it comes to tracking their service items. So custom office is something that if you do have that module on the system, you can utilize that to either add fields to the tables or customize the screens. Did you have
one question is to why PO is required?
Because that's originally how it was built. I mean, you don't have to actually utilize the PO features. So, you know, if there was someone who was doing, who did need to use Service Center and they did not have the purchase order module, that's something that we could look at, you know, tailoring to fit them. And most times we see that if someone is processing service orders, they need to receive that product and create purchase orders for that product or for their parts. So most times people have the purchase order module as it is. So that's definitely something we could look at.
So Robert would like to know if you can demo that integration. Nicole, I'm not sure if you'd like to do that at this moment or as a side demonstration.
Demo the purchase order?
Purchase order.
Well, I can show you briefly. I don't have my test system completely set up for that, but it is really similar to how it works with sales order. So if you look at service order data entry, if I had parts that I needed to order from vendors on my order, I do have like the generate PO button available, similar to how it's available in sales order. So it all works exactly like how it does in sales order with those same features that they had built in a few versions ago. So if, you know, if Robert wants a more in-depth demonstration of that, we could do that at a separate time.
Wonderful. Robert just mentioned that that is understood and perfect. Okay, our next question is, Nicole, do you see a future integration to Sage CRM for cases to service orders, perhaps?
I mean, it's something that's certainly possible, but I think that would probably need to be more handled on the CRM side. I don't really see us modifying the standard Sage CRM and Sage 100 integration, but you know, with Sage CRM, you can add tables and fields within Sage CRM and through the SQL. So, I mean, that's something that you could definitely do on that end. Right now, I don't see us doing any sort of integration with Sage CRM on our end. But, you know, if someone was interested in it, we'd definitely take a look at it and work with them on it.
Wonderful. And Nicole, can you put back up the contact information? Some of the questions were regarding who to email.
Sure. There you go. Yeah, so most certainly, you know, if anyone has any questions or wants any more information about Service Center, they can feel free to contact me directly, or they can send them to enhancements@dsdinc.com. Those will get to me as well.
And we have a few more questions, and if there are any others that have not been answered yet, please feel free to type them in. Nicole, another question for you are how are maintenance contracts handled?
We don't currently have like a feature for doing particular maintenance contracts separately outside from doing warranties. Most times people utilize the warranty features in order to maintain their service contracts, so it's not completely separate. It's not a separate maintenance area. But like I said, we do have the ability to track up to 4 different types of warranties. So a person may or a unit may have an original warranty, and then maybe we assign a repair warranty, which is sort of like your service contract as far as you know, maintaining that. So we have up to 4 warranty codes that can be attached to each unit, which most times that's what people utilize some of those additional warranty codes for.
And how can they see the time and labor entry?
As far as entering the time transaction, or?
That's a good question. If there's any further questions regarding that one, feel free to type it in. We'll move on to the next one for now. Is there a way to track outside processing?
As far as if the unit is sent back to a vendor, you can, if you have the unit come into you and then you have to then send it out to a vendor, there are those features available within Service Center as well.
Okay. Can you issue a serial number for a loaner at the service order level? If that item that you are sending out as a loaner is a serialized item, then yes, you can. Okay, I think.
I want to also mention while you know, while everyone's still on the call, that we do oftentimes do a lot of personalized demos for Service Center because everyone always seems to have their own individual process and all these exceptions that go along with how they're using the product. So if anyone has anyone that would like to you know, do a more personalized one-on-one demo after this, just feel free to contact me, and that's something that we can most certainly schedule and kind of talk through, you know, the particular case and how Service Center would be implemented.
Thank you, Nicole. Going back to the time labor entry, yes, they would want to know how time is entered and reported.
Sure. So if you look here under Service Center, I do have these technician time transactions. So this is one area where I can enter the technician time transactions, which would be a matter of selecting the technician, choosing which service order, which, you know, if I have my service orders or my items barcoded, you know, I could scan those with a wedge scanner to pull that information up in the system. And then I can enter in my start time and my end time. And one of the things that we've talked about adding in this screen is a punch in, punch out button as well, so that they're not actually entering in that information. So that is something that we plan on adding in there. And depending on my settings as far as how I'm billing out labor, once I make this entry, that's going to then apply a miscellaneous charge code back to that particular service order based on my settings for billing and labor.
Another question, Nicole, do you have to have a serial number for all items to enter a service order?
You do have to have a particular serial number for the item. That does not mean that the items that you have in your inventory have to actually be serialized. Your entire inventory could be FIFO or average cost. You need a unique identifier to be able to identify that particular unit so that you can track the history on it. So some people may choose to identify those with like the date and a sequence number, or a combination of the customer and a sequence number. But you do have to have a serial number within Service Center to track that unit.
And how many line items can you have on a service order?
As far as service items, or it's no different than a sales order. So you can enter almost as many lines as you want. I'm sure that there is some sort of limit. I've never particularly seen that happen yet, but obviously the more lines you enter, once you start getting up into really large amounts of lines, that could certainly either slow things down, but that's, you have the same limitations in Service Center as you would in the standard sales order.
And do you know how many installs for Service Center are there?
It's kind of hard to say the exact number because, I do know that there may be a fair amount of people who have been using the product for a number of years and they may not be current on maintenance, or, it's kind of hard to say exactly how many people are using the order. I would say somewhere between maybe 75 and 100.
Great. And I believe we have one more question for you, Nicole. If you have multiple units on a sales order, can you partially bill out those items that have been finished?
Yes. Yes, that's correct. So I could have 5 items on a service order. I might only get 3 of those back. If I get 3 of those back, I could bill out those 3 and let the other 2 remain open. Or I could hold the service order and wait to ship them until the rest are received. You can do partials. That's not a problem at all.
Great. We'll hang on here for a few more minutes. Are there any other questions that we have not yet answered? Again, if there is a question today that Nicole was unable to answer or you'd like her to expand on it, you can send an email to nicoler@dsdinc.com. Please type in any other further questions. Well, I think that's everything for today, Nicole. We really appreciate you showing us Service Center.
Okay, great. So like Leah said, if anybody needs anything from me, whether it's assistance with a more detailed demo or even just to provide demo data, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and have a good day.